Check. Off to a screen. There we go. You're gonna get a box down. And we are on silver. I tried that one time, and I think I'm early, so I don't think anybody caught that one. You know what? I haven't give you the link over there. I normally do that to make sure. Hold on a second. How did I forget to do this? Scout links, and that's a fresh one. I don't think it means that the old one don't work, but hell if I know, and I'm not gonna go reading through all them instructions. I just wanted to change it to Source Lab there. Get off of that. Back over to the charts, and I'm gonna go into quant pretty fast. I just happen to be on silver. I mean oil. And you can see it didn't quite make it to that red moving average, and they really didn't push it as far as I thought they would. I thought they would go up higher and catch some more longs. They must have got a good. I'm sure they did. That's just oil for you. Possible long now. Just to confuse everybody. That would make the most sense to me on that chart. So I would potentially dive a dip. You really got to know what you're doing. Most likely they went too fast. They did. So there's a square there. So there'll be some news, and it'll be the reason why. Gosh, it's about 10% too. So some people made some money off that short right there. Balls of steel. In so many ways, right in the middle of a war. Uh, I could see a trader get coming off of that. You get a dip down, and you're going to play the news, and I would have expected it went further too. So I could see somebody trying to trade this right here. Boom, boom. I can see somebody. You can see right through here again, and right through here again. And what do you got going on there? Is that in the real trend? Possible. Very possible. So if you had come through and you can see I drew it, now it's a little bit lower. So I'll end up getting in the oil a little too much if I ain't careful with Joe. Right through there. One, two, I mean, pretty damn developed too. And they nailed it again, which most likely means that my targets down here are good. But by looking at it that way, plus you got a break. Great little teaching chart. Because that's definitely when I talk about break hooks and goes, look, you're breaking into an area that's a damn free fall. So boom, fib, and then 786. And what you'll probably find is that's a pretty good percentage down as well, about 50%. And without getting too much more into it, your homework in these years, risk off. I'm pretty sure Forex market rocking and rolling all the way into 2017 and 2018 when the oil made a run up. And when oil was going up, crypto had a bull. 2021, when oil was going up, crypto had a bull. Inflation, maybe inflation. Got anybody in here? I had an opening. You don't even want to know what the opening was. I know if I don't share it, nobody sees it. I'm pretty sure. So I have to go delete it. It'll render in the cloud. It ain't that big of a deal. It's just with some private information, and it was on one of my screens. It wasn't even mine. And anyway, this is a room about few words and few of me explaining things that are going on around me and kind of taking a lot of that stuff out. I know some of y'all look. you wouldn't stick around if it wasn't for the stories and the cutting up and the singing and stuff this long. But there's a lot going on. Is what I'll say this morning with a few words. And yeah, I gotta go. Kind of quiet. 618, 786. Just what I'm telling you is it's a pretty kind of focus myself to have a real good room without blowing up. Because I'm in that type of mindset this morning. That fiery gunslinger, and it's not conducive to what y'all need now. And yeah, too many words. 786, 40, 60 to 40 oil. Is who's out there speaking about that? Well, they definitely weren't speaking about it when we went up into like 70. The banks are thinking I went back over and looked. 110, 100. Obviously the janky damn crypto TA people that put out oil calls and put out pretty much anything and everything they think they can get people to pay attention to or very long oil. And we see that in what causes oil to go up? Is it inflation? Is it just how markets roll? Is it a cycle? Is it cyclical? I've talked about the ranges here, up and down, top to bottom. We go to the top, we come to the bottom, we go to the top, come to the bottom. And with this one, it's getting more in the middle. So they're starting to squeeze it all right here in the middle, right? That's their zone, that in the middle zone, that equilibrium zone. And that's where we're at. But we're on our way down, not up. Are we done going down? A lot of times when you get this type of price action, something's going to go up or down, right? So we've got that price action and we started to go down with a geopolitical kind of stop to it. Now, is it possible? Because this is an anomaly. This is COVID, straight anomaly. I thought we were going down there anyway, but I thought we would have went down there and kind of did this type of situation. But in so many ways, weren't we supposed to be going up? We were, right? So when we started doing this, it's pretty bearish. So I remember looking at this, and then COVID happened, right? COVID. And so instead of finishing going back up, because what, they went down, they went up, they went down, and they started to go back up, but they really hadn't come all the way down, had they? So we go on back and make the chart into another time frame. Up, down. So bottom, top, kind of getting kind of triggered there, but eventually they make it to the downside. And then they go straight back up to the top for the most part, range. And now we're heading back down, and the probability is that we're going down. And we'll go back to the bulls of crypto. There and there. There and there. 618. Oil. We're gonna move on to quant and do some crypto and get the coins out on me. I'm gonna be turned off until this evening. Um, quant and a pretty good bounce here. Pretty good bounce here. At 90. And the question is, are we going to break that and keep going? And your targets, if you happen to have any quant right now, if they break the top, I wouldn't go crazy, but you really got to think about what crypto can do. They haven't really given us any kind of confidence in any of this, but they did come back and let you go for the double plus. So 90 to 180, you double, and then you can leave the rest on for the possible move. I can't make these calls right now, at all. just because of the stalling of it. There's a good sideways move. There's the whole CVD, but storyline and the technical fundamentals of this, I'm not too sure it's that positive, but people want to make money and that's what we're here for. So there is quant, and quant come back to about 90, went a little bit lower than 90, about 88 or so, and it's sitting right about 100 now. So, there's a good, when you're looking at entries, you really don't, you should have been ready for that one if you wanted it, pretty much is what I'll tell you. And you check and see how far it went. It went 15%. So right off the gate, that's how much of a stop loss you're going to need. If you just buy there, you put your stop loss where the last drop was. And that's a good idea in so many ways because it was where I was looking for. It just happens to be where I was looking for. Now you can see there's a green moving average there, and I've moved. That ain't the time frame I was on. Yeah, sometimes I can't tell because the way they shade that. Green. I think I'm on a day. Okay, this morning's hard. Windows got to be fixed. So a pretty good bounce here, about 13-14%, and you got the green moving average to get behind if you're gonna get this and you're gonna put a stop loss right there. I normally turn that red, but you really, if you're gonna get plan on buying here and you're going to put quant on your list and it's really serious about it and it's for your money and you want to go for that, you really want it to bleed. You want it to bleed to get a good entry. You may want to back your stop loss up a little bit. Although, like I said, that's a good spot. You really don't want to go any lower. You probably want to go down and check out that square right there, but you don't want to go down that low, especially in this market. Define your risk, define how much money you're willing to lose, and then look and see how much you make on a double and if it happens to go crazy. And a lot of times that's going to answer whether you want to get involved in this. Crypto folks tend to want to go for at least 3 and 5 X's. And you could get that out of that. And I don't know, I'm going to go to a few more and show you the same kind of situation that's going on. And they bounce pretty good. You have to make a decision. Are you going to buy? And I would never do that. You're buying into resistance and you're buying into a moving average. It doesn't matter if it pumps or not. That's bad habits, and that's going to eventually really mess up some money. So whatever you make here, having bad habits like that and not stopping yourself. And almost every time, if you'll stop yourself, that damn thing, especially in this market, is going to go pretty close to where it bounced. If it doesn't do that, that means possibly it's just specific, coin specific, and it just happened to be this one, or the rest of the market is winning the risk on. And the rest of the market pretty much has winning the risk on. But crypto and the alts as a market wide basis has decided, hey, no, and we got some green, but do we really have that much green? 909. So you can see yesterday the S&P up a percentage, just like Coinbase, kind of breaking these fibs, which is bullish. To really, it is bullish. You got gaps below, though, is what I'll say about the S&P here, 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 and here. Um, um, gapping again. Risk on. That's what it signifies. It's been on a lot of these indexes the whole time. You've got SEI, which is pushing on Bitfinex, and I've kind of lost interest in keeping a lot of track of the liquidity over here on these. It doesn't really register. It can't make much sense of it, but it is pushing, and this one has come in strong. So um, it's not in a good place to enter. It pushed up, and you got a sell off here about 0.35. One's at 0.3, one's looks like it's 3.5. So it does look like there's a difference there. There's a possible arbitrage. They're not deep enough. I would want that thing, and I showed it early, but you know, it was in the middle of all this stuff. What they tend to do with crypto. You need a good retrace. You need, and, you know, these things once they stall and start to go down, they tend to give every bit of it back. So you're down here deep if you want this one. Is what I'll say. There's a few of them that I had my eyes on that I was peeking at here and there, and they'll do it. But as you'll see, most of them went down and basically I tried to capitulate again at their lows. Most of these cryptos already did quant go up the board. Not a lot going on. There's not any kind of follow through on ceasefire. You know, remember we just bombed everybody just recently, and you know, there's a lot of talk about rate cuts and the feds and Powell and switching out Powell. They got a lot going on. The big beautiful bill. All of that, and the markets seem to be shaking it all. Crypto is recovering way slower than everybody else for the most part on dips. You can see over here on Litecoin. It's recovered. It's going sideways now. That says we're going higher again, which you would think would mean that they would break through here. But, you know, are we going to get some bullish price action where it's 10, 10, 10? And when you look up Litecoin's 30% up, we will see randoms, which I tend to show you guys, but you know, the market for the most part ain't nobody interested in this stuff too much. But it is a better sign. There's other ones I can't get them all up on my board and pay attention to them. There seems to be always a hot 10 somewhere. LCX selling off again on, but it's got two good candles and it made a decent move. Needs to come in and make another move. It's hard to say it's going to do that. It seems like every time it does this, it works its way all the way back down to the bottom. And if you buy in the middle, you usually end up upside down. So you know, you don't really want to keep messing with stuff that continues to do this. So, you know, I got to go all the way down to the bottom, and this time is probably when it'll take off. Let's hope for the people that's got something. And there's a wick there, so I don't really think I'd go buying any until you got it deep down. Try to get it for 11 to 12. 11 to 12 is where I would be looking for that one. What am I on? I'm on LCX. And so it would be great for them to break the top here. And I'm sure some people would like some positive trades and some positive money, just a 618. If you could get it 11 or 12, about 70%. You know, I would say, let's go backwards. You can kind of see where the problem comes in right there. So, you know, to get your money to do that, take some profit. Probably going to have to give back about a chunk, leave it alone, and see if it goes higher. They've made this pretty difficult. Is what I'll say. You're trying to catch that. You're trying to catch a chunk of money that'll do that, and you can kind of see if it with what they've done right there. If they come in and break this and they take off and they break that top, you know, say that was a bull. It broke the top and when the prices go, a lot of times they'll go higher once they get up there. But who's to say they went up there 3 times now, and come right back down. Par for the course on crypto. Could this be over? Exchange a little bit like Coinbase. It's interesting. It is over there in the UK. They've got all their regulatory stuff you can go read about LCX, and I do not think that I can find a and you see over here on Kraken. Now Kraken's got some wicks that I think need to be fixed up around here, but that would take you up into that 618 target if they go up in there and fix it that where that about that red moving average is about 0.18. And you see the work they got to do. You know, just because they make that move, that red moving average pointing down, you know, it's not so good when it's pointing down. Here it's still pointing down when it goes through it. So the thing about it is, if they get ready to pump through it, they're gonna pump through it. It don't matter what that red moving average looks like. They've tried it as the same as before, and then they drove it lower. They tried it same as before, and they drove it lower, and here we go again. So with a lot of these things that I show you right now, it's time to do something. When we get into the fall and we get later into the year, it's hard to say how they're going to do this with Trump and risk off and the way the market is. So that's what I'll say about that. Check, 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 check. Hood pushing up. I can't say that I pushed it and invested in any of y'all. Maybe you made the decision to do something here. With Hood, not a bad entry if that's what that's what you're interested in. Looks to me like there's some gaps down there, but it also looks like that's where they went to. Remember, they don't have to get all the way to the gap. Sometimes they just get close to the gap. You have to trade gaps and deal with gaps before you truly understand the decisions you need to make. See how close they got? I've traded when I first started trading gaps many times where I had a trade going, and I thought I never traded them, and I just assumed some things, and I wanted the whole thing closed, and they got close to it, and your trade gets messed up. So, I'd look for that maybe if they go down again. But they tended to clean that place up when they went down in there with Hood. And now we're pushing. My eyes pick up that lift up out of there. So we could be close to one of those. So if you were interested in Hood and you thought we could go higher, I don't know what to say about. I'd go do reading Robin Hood. I think they're definitely entrenched in the crypto, which seems to be for the bigger guys the thing to do right now. To get money and stuff. So should I say about Hood and the fundamentals? On Hood, I feel like I've been talking for an hour already because I got some heavy shit on my head, but I'm gonna get through this with you guys. What's going on over here? Looks like that thing um gap down. It's time to clear that chart here. Up would be the call. And you're looking for shorts. You just gotta be careful, but you got two punches up. They aren't making, well, they're not making a higher high. This, I guess one of the ways to look at this is just that weak shit is the way I look at it with opportunity for a good short position for a square of this that even one here, but there's one back here. And we'll see if GameStop actually cleans up like Bitcoin never did. Did Bitcoin clean up around 12? We're gonna get up there to Bitcoin and Ethereum and the Kraken wick around 1,000. Litecoin, especially the way these things have stalled and how low are we talking about, and the Bitcoin correction and what kind of damage all this could have. The euro obviously pushing the top again. They went up there a few times up and down, and up and down, up and down. Boom, boom, boom. And we're a little bit higher. That eh, that weak kind of move. It's tradable. Be careful. It's just not bullish. They're not really driving it, and it's starting to lean over. The trend is your friend. until it starts to bend. Euro, dollar hanging on that bottom. As we've moved through a little bit of summer here, and it started to heat up. Ethereum, the best trade in crypto I talked about yesterday. There's still that dip down, which probably isn't going to be that positive if it happens with alt, especially if it goes deeper right here in squares, unless it's real fast. But you got to be true. It's a little bit of a tricky area. If you got an entry right here, about two or so, not so bad. It's a tricky area as they rip down, found the green. And just make sure you know what you're doing. Double plus is what I say, and then some sort of alt season. I don't think this gets crazy, but if they decide for it to get crazy, it can. I think you see that with the speculative money and the way other stuff's run out there, just total scams and stuff. They showed you they can run this stuff as the same way, the same way that they do all that. DXY. And still looking for a bounce, even though they're sitting down there. And now you have to start to look for the feds and the speakers. I think Powell spoke yesterday. I saw something come through, and he just said it sounded like he's going to be a pause again. But there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and there's a lot of pressure being put on the everywhere. So that's what I'll say about the Feds. Trump. The talks for cutting rates by 3 points and all of that stuff that's going on. On up the board, coin had a very strong move. It was kind of running the whole time with circle, and it's gets significant once that whole leg is broke because I suspected that they were going to turn it at 786 right here, and they didn't. They just really run. So I suspect that maybe there's some news on Coinbase, and I haven't. I've probably seen some, but I've possibly missed something, and I need to. I'll go back and read over it. But you see what I've done? I've backed up, used the whole leg, and you can see I'm using the fibs. Boom, 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 and that's the way you're going to have to analyze this one. Now they're going into resistance, and it's the third time here. Obviously, they didn't go through here. They're not through, and now they're here again. So the thing is a financial crisis is normally going to send most everything down. It doesn't have to send everything down, and there still can be runs and pumps and dumps. Markets will be markets. Um, Certain things may do good, other things will do horrible. Is Coinbase showing us that it's going to be strong, or is this just on the back end of what's happened with Circle? But is Circle the same thing as Coinbase? And so now you got some homework to do. Circle, Coinbase, stocks, IPOs. Obviously, the Circle one was rather successful for the folks that did that one, and it kept going like 30 days later. So I'm not too sure how long it's been since I saw an IPO do that or was paying attention on one. Usually they go straight to hell on the price. If I remember, I haven't paid attention to IPOs because IPOs, ICOs, Lord, I've been doing crypto for too long. Oh man, that no doubt about it. So a little bit of coin there, and definitely for investment entries, we're going to be looking deeper. If you happen to have it, that would be a take profit spot. But you could be going into price discovery unless we have another. I don't think we looked there. This is a stock, so this is a stock crypto. Come, come, come. Yeah. My brain wanted to go check the other charts, but it's a stock. So a little bit of coin basing. Here's BTC back up pushing again. Not surprising. And remember that level's up there. So, and I still don't think it's in a very good spot to be thinking about shorting or anything like that. See the blue moving average in this area here, and I would even get up under that and go down a little bit. That's where you really want to see about, I feel like, where we're at, 98, 98, anywhere below 98, bing bong, short trading, and you want it as close to up there in that 9,800. Up here, you're playing with that 122 still. They got everything so bad and everybody leaning all the way, and this thing didn't hardly move. And alts get hit, but the mainly the reason they're getting hit in this registration is because they don't have any bullish moves going. If it was bullish moves going across the board on the alts and they were getting hit, and it was just crypto volatility, you'd be happy. You could trade it better. You could get new entries, kind of a little bit like what's going on with Quant. And as we get up to Avi will be the same way. Not giving you a lot to work with at all. And then when risk off hits, they absolutely just push them all the way back down to the bottom, like nobody's business. So I just kind of rolled through, scooting through, not a lot moving, so it's still quiet. We haven't even gotten to 9:30 yet. Boo, 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 boo. AMD's up about 7%. So and risk on. That was yesterday. So so you can see the white line here up into the 618 and resistance right there. And another sign of risk on. Again, financial crisis, interested in this stock. If there's something that you might be interested in, AMD, b- 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 micro devices. I think of something else to say about them, but not off the tech. TTD is another company that I keep an eye on, or I was keeping an eye on. So TTD is another one you'll see me show. So another example of risk on out there. Um, Alts are definitely not. They're not risk off, but they're not doing anything. So that's the thing is risk off hits and they absolutely get cremated, and then risk on hits in the other markets. And we haven't got New York opening yet, but all day yesterday, and there's no follow through. There's a bounce with no follow through. Possible trade right there if you're really paying attention and you had these up and you look and you got a dip, but you can see how fast it came back up into about 260. And up in here, it's not really that tradable to me unless you really like trading leverage. Got to be careful. We haven't went up and reached these areas, so if you happen to have gotten some Aave, and I prefer that you had it down here when I first started showing it, 200, or you either had some buy orders, which I just don't think too many people are doing that right now. You may end up getting about 300, 350, and then, I can't say that I see anything like that right now where they actually go and use the 4.23, but stranger things have happened. If they decide to do it, they decide to do it. Crypto. Um, just in so many ways, if they decide to do it, they decide to do it, and that's what I'll say about all the reach out. If you got any questions or anything, you can see if they were just to pop the top and just go up. That 618 is a good fib to target and possibly take profit. Once they get up into these areas, you're not really going to be thinking about buying unless you're just trading shorter term, going after smaller percentage, and then actually going to trade Aave, and it's got movement over a period of time. Most of the times, these things don't have any flow. So that's all. That's what I'll say about this. They don't have a lot of flow. So that kind of trading can be difficult, I think, unless you got a lot of time. All the way up to the top, I'm going to try to roll back down. Um, I pretty much cleared my head, and I need to clear my head in a different way this morning. I'm doing pretty good. No words, just talking and getting through it and kind of slowing down. Um, what else we want to do this morning? Let's see if I can knock anything out. Y'all have got more than a few short videos covering a bunch of different subjects. BCH green. We could talk about why in the world it's this one. The more it holds up there, the more it may blow a little bit higher. Because it's really not selling off yet. Of course, it can happen fast. So um, I think it speaks volumes of crypto and what actually shows up green. Is it green because BTC is green? Is it green because it's a great thing? Or I don't know what's going on with it. I just don't know. Crypto. So yeah, it's making sense that you're going to see that now. I don't know that I definitely wouldn't go out trading it. Wouldn't count on it. It's hard to call anything higher. Of course, it's crypto, and who knows? Maybe they're going to do something like that. Um, I just don't have that excitement and that FOMO and that alt season, but XRP did it. Bunch of other stuff done it. So if they do it, it would be like a low cost pump hype. I don't know how many people would even be interested or catch it. But it's green. BCH is green. BTC about almost 2%. So back up. They'll be screaming all time high again. Maybe a head and shoulder pattern forming right there if that ends up being the top. Remember the 120 area. The 120 area is there. And that's kind of where I saw that they were going to go. That candle just kind of hanging in the wind is a danger sign to me, but they've come in and they're pushing. So just as I've spoke before, I'm not too much in the shortened game here or the long game, not up at the top. It's just not healthy for people. Shorts now and managing whatever you got. Longer term, 250 to 500,000. Longer term. Next time, I want to see where they finish off here. Even at 120, I would say next time 250 is probably where I'd take us. Depending on the length of time and depending on what's done to get us heading that way again. I go back to at the beginning of the room, oil. And when it goes up, when it goes down, I think it's really important. And it looks like New York has opened up now. So BTC gets a little bit of a bump. So hopefully the alts will go green and get some life, and we'll see 10 to 20% when I cut back on tonight. Don't see a lot besides the BTC's got a little bit of a boost. You guys reach out and engage this evening if you need to about any coins, and I'm going to roll back down the board. I got the two, and I think the shorter stuff really works for y'all when you're busy. And you're trying to catch up, and you see, hey, there's a source live with a few good things in it, and it's only 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Of course, 40 and 50 minutes are going pretty short for me, but I do have some distractions this morning I need to deal with. As I roll down the board and I see flat, 2 to 4%. What is that? Flat. Kusama gave it all back. Talked about that a little bit in the video the other night. You had to get a good entry, and then a good entry on this one is if you catch it right here, and then it goes boom, but then it just puts your money right back upside down. And in so many ways, they capitulated it. So you're looking for another boom, and it'd be nice if it was bigger. This one goes fast. It's like mover and pay. It goes fast every time. So you can see LQTY green. It's a little bit like VCH, but it's a random one, and I was picking it up, bubbling there. Litecoin flat. So flat. Moog I added, but it's one of those meme coins, and I got whiff and did the pattern and made the whiff video last night for you. I've got some more videos in me, I'll give them, but I'm probably going to let y'all catch up for now. Sailor. You got to be aware of that. 786, BTC is going up, especially with that 120. Will it give you an indication that it's going to happen first? Possible. It's a pattern too. Everything else is positive on potential stock trade, is what I would say. And then I would look for the sell off. And if that's not one of the better, it's not that bad of a trade with what's going on out there with stocks and stuff. They're all green. They're all pushing. This is a pump stock. It's went a long way though. So if it does turn into 618 and goes, it that wouldn't surprise me either. But I don't know. I wouldn't really. If I was a short trader, really be thinking I would be down here looking at that as an opportunity and thinking that maybe as a long sailor. New Zealand yen up almost a percentage. So the yen's being pushed. Nvidia's up almost a percentage. So the stock market flat, 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 flat. Looks like we're waiting on something again. Coin opened up with, or about opened up with, no run, no run on the AI at all. Has RNDR had its run, and this is just going to continue to work its way down. It's very possible, you guys, on these. It had a little bit of a bounce, but nothing bullish to speak about. And ABC possible, some structure there, just a possible trade, but the AI really has been a fizzle. And I don't know what to say about it at the moment because the rest of where the AI stocks and all the AI stuff going on out there, it's been pretty positive. The news is positive. A lot of money's going into it and all that, and it goes along with the narrative and the pump and the nature of crypto in so many ways. Sui, the new coin, pops basically a 618 and then sells off. It could compare it to like my Aave a little bit, but are we going to take off and go higher? Can anybody really say that besides the Sui shillers? It bounced off support right now, but they come in and sold it a little bit too much for my taste. Um, to say that everything was going to go and crypto was going to make moves. I'm just beginning to think that we're beyond being able to say risk on and risk off with some of these coins. They just decide, hey, it isn't their time. They're not going to run them. And every time things are going up, they're going to sit there and not do much of nothing. And then as soon as something happens that can send them down, they're going to get hit and they're eventually going to work themselves down to potentially if there's problems down below. And you can't rule out, I immediately go there. So I'll give you some homework. Is Sui squared up there? And are we turning right here to make a lower low? Lower high, a return to make a lower low. Is that a square? And is that worth an investment? Or are we looking at a hype coin? Um, are we looking at a hype coin? That's what I'll say there. On Sui. On down the board. Get a few more out of me. So total one, total two, total three is green. I was peeking at Toshi, but these coins will run and then they get smashed. Will it come back alive? Is it worth your time and energy? There's a wick up above. It's one of those new ones. There's so many of them that I'm not going to push this at you. But I was taking a peek at it and I just noticed it. So may come back to that. You may see some more on Toshi, hashtag Toshi, and any of my work that I've done prior will come up for you. There's TTD, which I keep an eye on. And you can see gapping all over the place, gap trading there. There's a little bit of a bull flag. I pick up gap trading, possible there. Yen, as I noted, was, well, hard time. I had a little bit of green. So I pull back and a little bit of green. That's why I'm picking up about 0.5%. And the yen doesn't move a lot for the most part. VIX just screams that all the risk has been stripped. So there's no more risk. And we just blew up nuclear, whatever we did. And there's no risk. So in markets. So they're registering it as all this stuff really doesn't have an effect on what's going on in so many ways. But it did, because we definitely had some risk off, but it didn't stick too long either. So BTC showing 2%, XTN, one of those ones that have made a strong move before. And I won't do nothing now. It seems to be wanting to go down and square. And we've kind of seen this before. Just what they do. They'll do that. And when they start doing that, they'll just keep going. They'll pump a little bit like LCX has been doing, a little bit different though, because LCX has got that. Well, see, yeah, this one's only got that one pump in its past. I almost want to compare the chart to LCX and say they're going to work all the way down the bottom and they're going to do it again and then they're going to do it again. XCN. Zen, how horrible price action after they show they may do something. So, you can see higher, 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 and then rip phone call. In so many ways, is what they did. A little bit of a bounce. Be careful getting yourself caught up in stuff like this and not taking your loss and defining what you're doing and making it. You do a couple of these, you're going to learn. Don't buy, put steps in front of buying right there, because you'll get your money posted. And then when you get your money back to even, you're going to click out. And then if it keeps going, then it just fries your brain. And it's so hard not to just get out. If you sat in your monies, absolutely just squash, which a lot of these have done, and then you sit in it and you hodl it. As soon as you get back to where your money's at even, you're going to want to get out. There's just, you got a million other places better. Well, hopefully you learn your lesson not to hodl this shit. You just can't. And if you find yourself taking trades and you're just getting stopped out, you get stopped out, you get stopped out, come and talk to me. It's probably market conditions. And, it's my job to show you where they can take off. But the market conditions, I can't change. And the market conditions have been horrible. And every chance that they really had a chance to give us good market conditions, they take it away. Over the last 3 years, they squash the heart of crypto and then put everybody on all these coins all over the place. And they got people convinced they can be millionaires in so many ways. And then this, all that industry stuff. Platinum holding up. You need a really good correction. This is absolutely incredible price action as far as I'm concerned for a metal. Boom. You can see here and here. Boom. So straight down and then straight back up and then boom. Look at that price action. So is that COVID? That's COVID. Look at that shit. And it's only 130%, but this is metal. That's a 40% rip there. And we'll see what else. I'm looking for corrections on anything like that. Circled as well, and you can see um 1.27, and it took a couple pulls. Normally it's, I only can go by what I've been taught about pulling legs of money, and my experience is the first pullback. But that gave me the 1.27. You can come in here and now that it's pulled back. Was it a 1.6? You could look at it that way as well. And a lot of people will. I don't like it like that. when you do that. So, what I do is end up going higher and there's a gap there. And, it's a little bit not as I teach, but that's making the most sense to me that I was at 1.27. And if we're going to go higher, and we possibly could, not don't think 4.23, but you can because it is fibs and speculative markets. First, what kind of valuation are we talking about? And does it make sense that this stock could go to 600? Does it make sense that this stock just did to 300? What makes sense here? Before you ever decide by a chart that you're going to buy it. I see the gap. I was just at the beginning of the room showing you something that doesn't necessarily have to close. So you have to be careful with that. Just getting close down here makes sense. And then really looks like there's a gap there too. So now remember, you're dealing with a different kind of introduction to the market. I want to say IPO, and I think I'm just saying it wrong. I haven't thought about that stuff. Go do some of my homework, and if you're interested in this and you want to refresh your brain on terms, and I'll do the same for you when I get a chance. And because I'm going to go digging on this one a little bit and see what I can find. As soon as I can kind of get some time and get that energy for this circle gaps, possible opportunities with that. And TAO, we'll knock that one out. So my call on this one, someone had come to me and was asking me, or just told me was one of the ones they had. My call was solid candles up under 300. So solid candles up under 300 and it's over. So what time frame did I mean? So you can kind of see they got them down there. It's real close, real close, real close. Yeah, all the way down there to support. Boom. Entries, that's not necessarily a wick. It looks like one, but it's not necessarily one. Just they came in and said they went up real fast. So on those other time frames, it's showing up as a wick, but it's not really one. But you still, the way crypto's doing right now, almost every day they put in, they're going back down. So entries are trying to mess with this one. Still about 300 is what I say. You look for some blood if you want to try that one. I'm not pushing it at you. I was covering it. It's not a bad story, bad coin, all of that. I haven't did too much more digging on it. He told me some people that cover it pretty well, but I figure I can find whatever I want. 618 possible. I hadn't seen too many of those. So 618 is more of a bull to me. Those are more bull moves. They're a lot easier to trade. It's a lot easier to put entries on. It's where I normally look. And for me, if they don't do that and they go all the way down to the bottom, it's a hard call on anything because it's not bullish. So that's got it on the higher time frame right there. Go back data. Ah, boom. All right. There. Possible dip here, 618. Support. Damn, my earphone just clicked. Check it, check, 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 check. Earphones just clicked for some reason. Um, 618. Top, pop, possibility. I'm gonna roll it up right there. I made it longer than I thought it would. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And that's a good one. Got good coins in it, good information. I was nice and slow, so and I'm practicing saying a lot less. And I ain't gonna sing that song no more. No, he said too much. It's gonna be oh no, he didn't say anything. What the hell's wrong? I'm gonna go back to my old days where I just sit and think and don't say much and slow it down and not talk about too much. Come up and have my own stories that I don't tell nobody. See, there's where I get into too many words. I'll see you on the next video. Stop it.